Chris, what is main topic number 3?
Topic number 3 comes from the Antagonistic Anonymous. Hey, John and Co. The first fan reactions for Morbius are out, and unfortunately, it does seem like the film does not live up to expectations. The common cons of the film are featured throughout the reactions include messy plot with poor CGI. However, one of the more consistent concerning cons of the reactions were the post-credit scenes, which are labeled as one of the worst, most confusing post-credits ever featured. John, my hype and expectations for Morbius are down to 0. So I was wondering, what are your thoughts now on Morbius and its fan reactions?
Break out the Academy Awards now for 2023, for Jared Leto, for Best Picture, for Best Visual Effects. God, I have been so excited. You guys know if you watch the show, I'm not being facetious. I have been legitimately super hyped for this movie. I've been so excited for this. I think Jared Leto is a tragically despite the fact that he has an Academy Award, is a tremendously disrespected actor. I think he's absolutely a fantastic performer. I think the trailers for this movie look fantastic. I think the clips for this movie looked absolutely fantastic. And I have been excited about this movie. Damn it, I've been excited about this movie. Well, that excitement's been taking a beating this week. As first reports start coming out that all the whole marketing campaign that was all built around the whole idea about the interconnectedness of the shared universe and everything, all BS. All BS. It was a complete misdirect. Not a misdirect. It was a complete deception. It was an orchestrated deception. So that kind of took some of the wind out of my sails. But still, I soldiered on. I'm like, I believe that I got my tickets already. I believe this is going to be a good, fun movie, and maybe I will still think so. But the early reactions of people who have indeed seen, who've confirmed they have seen this film, are now coming out, and they come in just a little bit below my lofty expectations. Yeah. And by a little bit below, I mean way down. Really, really down. It's not looking good. Here are some of the reactions from screenings out of the UK. Seb Astley writes, well, Morbius is about as bad as you were expecting. A 2005 plot collides with a visually confusing CGI. Oh, Chris is soaking this in. She's like drinking this up like your milkshake. That goes on to say,
yellow sun.
Confusing CGI to create a bit of a snooze fest. But yeah, that's not good.
Wow.
But don't worry, they saved the worst for last, featuring some of the worst post-credit scenes you have ever seen. Another viewer at the screening, Nicola Austin, writes, well, Morbius is unfortunately not great. Some really shoddy visual effects and 2000s formulaic plot, and definitely not as fun as Venom. Really confused at the future of Sony Spider-Verse following the post-credit scenes and the ending. But Matt Smith is clearly having a blast. All right, Escape Film Club writes, Morbius proves that no matter how many famous faces or shiny visuals you squeeze in, they will always find a way to impressively misunderstand basic storytelling. Also writing in Morbius, Matt Smith gloriously hams up the place. A lot of people saying good things about Matt Smith. Gloriously hams up the place, and Oliver Wood delivers some visual flair to the action sequences. Aside from that, the bad plotting and messy CGI, confusing editing, and worse sound mix results in absolute incoherence, but the post-credit scenes manage to outdo it all.
Oh,
a lot of comments about the post-credit scenes. Now, I should point out that in the 15 to 20 of the reactions that I read, there were a couple of them that were positive. Like, not saying it's the greatest thing of all time, but there were a couple of them saying, you know what? This is pretty fun. I had a good time at it.
Was it, though?
Great. But the vast, vast, vast majority of the early reactions were, this is the theme. Extremely confusing was a theme. Nowhere near as good as Venom. Post-credit scenes were the worst of all time. I'm like, how bad can a post-credit scene be? I mean, you can have Bob Chapek scratching his ass with a empty Coca-Cola can. For how bad can a post-credit scene be? But apparently everybody's talking about just how bad the post-credit scenes are. They're criticizing one of the things that I thought looked really good in the film, which I thought the visual effects in the trailers and in the clips looked really good, but we're hearing a lot of criticism about the visual effects, and that has just made no sense. I've been really excited about this movie for like 2 years. And now I'm hearing this, and I gotta tell you, man, my expectations have dropped quite a bit. And it's especially disappointing because hearing this, now again, I haven't seen it yet myself. I'll see it in about a week. But it's especially disappointing to hear this because I am a big fan of the Venom movies. And I liked Venom 2 quite a lot. And I'm really excited about Kraven the Hunter and the other stuff like Madam Web. I don't know if you heard about this, Rob, Madam Web. But I've been really excited about what it looks like they've got coming up. And to hear this, woo, this is disappointing for me to hear.
Goosebumps, baby. Goosebumps right here. I cannot wait to not see this.
Well, you're going to see it. Oh, you're going to go see it because you got to do an out of the theater reaction.
Oh, I do. Today I'm going to Walmart. I'm touching every single item on the shelf. I am catching something today.
We're all sneezing in Ray's mouth.
We're all everybody's.
Wow, I need to get out of work, so I'm gonna go to Walmart. That should be a whole ad campaign.
Look, and I know there is nobody more surprised in this room to hear this than Chris Carr. She is by far the most shocked to hear.
My lord, I'm so shocked.
Chris, you're hearing this. What are you thinking? The floor is yours. As she drinks everybody's milkshake.
I love this. I love this so much because I think this looks terrible. So all of my expectations are being met. I was right about Uncharted. I will be right about Morbius. Everything is coming up, Carr.
Well, a lot of people liked Uncharted.
I know, but I still didn't. And then you two even walked out of that theater being like, I didn't like this movie.
Yeah, I didn't.
So, I mean, I love Matt Smith. I'm glad he does well in this. I'm really excited for Jared to put that Razzie next to his Oscar.
Oh, you got. Well, okay. I will point out, I haven't read any of the reactions criticize
His acting?
in it,
Right.
which is good. But I also haven't heard anybody say, "Wow, Jared Leto was amazing in this." But then I'm not hearing anybody saying anything amazing about it at all. But no specific criticism about Leto playing it.
I'm super excited to like anger watch this though, because how bad does a post-credit scene have to be that it causes this amount of outrage? Like, do they insult your mother in the post-credit scene? What happens?
Literally, if
This is delicious.
a post-credit scene could be a blank screen and then a cat walking across a white table.
That's
All right.
basically Captain Marvel's post-credit scene.
It kind of really is. And then you go, okay, that happened. But it's a post-credit scene. It can't be all that negative. What is in these post-credit scenes that have people like so pissed off at this movie?
They put down every single thing about this movie other than the trailers you watched before the movie or the popcorn. That's it. That's all. That's all.
Nobody's
That's
complaining
all
about the popcorn. Rob, you're hearing this. You knew going into we were going to hear super glowing reviews coming up, but I got to tell you, I'm pretty surprised by how negative the stuff I'm hearing is. What stands out to you?
First of all, as a lifelong horror film fan and a fan of vampires and comics, whether it's Tomb of Dracula, whether it's Morbius, the living vampire, I don't understand how you can mess up this paradigm. We just had the 100th anniversary of Nosferatu pass us by. Here's a classic story. A scientist looking for a cure creates something that turns him into a monster. This is one of the most classic horror stories ever. Like, how do you mess this up? And I was really excited about this because it looked like, oh, great. They're putting a classic horror story into the Sony Spider-Verse. What could go wrong, John? What could go wrong? I mean, scientist creates bats bite him, whatever. He turns into a vampire. He kills a bunch of people. Doesn't know if he's human or bat, whatever. I'm like, I get it. I see the trailer. Give me that. Give me that. How hard can that be? So when I read,
Well, you know very well, making a good motion picture is extremely difficult.
I know. But then it's like when you hear that there's people are calling out bad CG. First of all, why is it that everybody refers? Why? American Werewolf in London, your favorite horror movie. Do you know how much CG that movie had in it? Zero. It had physical effects, great transformation effects. Why is it that did you see American Werewolf in Paris?
Yes, terrible.
And you know why?
Because it was a bad story.
And it's a bad story, but all it had was CG werewolves. I mean, it's just, I hear this and I'm like, this is not hard. I mean, it's hard to make a great movie, yes, but the criticisms that they're giving us, incoherent editing, it does smack to me of a bit of studio interference. When things are incoherently edited, that's like I thought Suicide Squad, the first Suicide Squad. When I saw that movie, I almost had to walk out because I hated how horribly it was edited. I'm like, how did you let this go? And the studio had it recut by a trailer company. I'm like, I understand. So I look at this, John, and I was really looking, Chris, I was really looking forward to this movie.
How is it my fault?
Well, I'm just not your
can't help
fault.
that I'm just right about
So you were
things,
rooting
Rob.
against it. Somehow you can influence the universe. No, but no, John. I mean, I really wanted this to be good. It ticked so many boxes for me, and they're doing so well with Spider-Man: No Way Home. And I look at this, it gives me no pleasure. Kind of like this week's episode of Picard.
You
Somehow.
had to throw that in there somehow, right? Ray, come on, you gotta have some enthusiasm for this.
I'm actually quite scared now because like I was beginning to trust Sony. I thought maybe working with Marvel Studios with the last Spider-Man movies, they would take, some lessons from them. And just the trust. I wanted this to be a good kickoff as a solo movie after No Way Home. But if it's bad, I don't like this bad start if it is bad.
John, I think that this might be a result. This movie's been, when was this supposed to come out? 2 years ago?
Probably, yeah.
I have no basis in fact, but I'm wondering if the studio second guessed this movie over the last 2 years for whatever reason, and maybe they meddled with it.
Well, I mean,
We-
we simply don't know.
Can we agree that all the effects in the trailer look great?
They did.
They did
Yeah,
look
I thought
great,
they looked
right?
great. Yeah.
They look great.
So somewhere
And his design is great. The vampire, the Morbius,
Right.
that vampire design.
But
I
this
think
is the
it's
part
great.
that's confusing. Look, every studio, I thought Hawkeye was bad, so even Marvel can make bad things. But again, the disappointment to me is, I think they've really gone. They were doing so well with the Venom films. I think those are just fantastic, fun entertainment. That's a lot of the comments coming out. It's like, just not as fun as Venom. Everybody was like talking, coming out of these things. Like, Venom had it, this one doesn't. And also, this is the company that made better Spider-Man movies than Disney ever has. I think they've made 2 Spider-Man movies better than Disney ever has, in Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But the things like editing, visual effects, you had 2 extra years to smooth those out. You didn't need to bring anybody. You didn't have to go back to location. You didn't have to bring cast back in. You just needed to get a producer or 2, a director, an editor into a room, look at that. If you realize you had some effects that were looking pretty bad, you got 2 years. And when you got a lot of time, you can get some pretty decent visual effects done less expensively. I just don't know what the excuse would be for those types of things slipping through the cracks at this point. If the story's terrible, the story's terrible. But again, I haven't seen it.
and could the story be terrible because of a connected universe?
Of course it could. Yeah, it absolutely could. I mean,
that be-
having not seen it, I
Yeah,
can't say for
yeah,
sure. That's a
I'm-
possibility.
Yeah, I'm really interested to find out why.
So, guys,
I do want to see it though.
I am.
Now I want to go.
Oh, I am definitely still seeing
because
it.
you can learn a lot from a movie that is a debacle.
I just hope this theater serves tea so I can sip it.
I got a feeling you'll be bringing all the tea you want.
be
So,
great.
guys, question is for you. What do you think about what we're hearing coming out about Morbius? I remain excited. I just got to admit, I'm not as excited as I was. I'm going in a little bit more guarded now. What do you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by Ninja so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea.